So the topic of this video, guys, is taking all these non-dual teachings to the top. These are the types of videos I love making and talking about. This is expressing to you what I'm really thinking and feeling. People have asked me several times in the comments, is everything you're talking about what you've learned or a direct experience? Honestly, everything I'm going to say in this video is a direct experience. And you can take from that what you wish. Also, people, they've kind of hinted to me, are you claiming enlightenment? Are you enlightened? They've said this in the comments. I've always said, no, I'm not enlightened. Get out of here. If you want an enlightened teacher, go find someone that says they're enlightened. There's a reason for that, which I'll explain later too. But guys, this is the type of video I constantly am biting my tongue, wanting to talk about, but I hold myself back. And I talk a lot about devotion and spiritual practice, which is essential as well. Don't get me wrong. But here's what I've always truly wanted to say and what I'm directly experiencing. I'm taking the mask off. This life, ultimately, is not a dream. It's like a dream. And there's a very subtle difference. When we say life is like a dream, it means you can wake up from it. I literally just woke up. I woke up, I was dreaming, I've woken up from the dream, and now I'm here making a video. I have the ability to wake up. Here's the thing about this life and why it's not a dream, it's like a dream. You cannot wake up from this. How so? What's the only thing you know for certain? When I was dreaming, that wasn't a lucid dream, by the way, it was a regular dream. In that dream, that wasn't lucid, I took that to be real. I felt like that was real. Then I woke up for it, now I'm here. Now I feel like, oh, that was a dream, I woke up, now I'm here. How do I know this is real? How do I know any moment now, something happens where I wake up to a bigger reality and go, oh, I was the Simon character who thought they just woke up from a dream in bed. Now I'm here thinking this is real. Then I've woken up to that reality. Where does this end? If you wake up to a bigger reality and say, oh, okay, those two things were dreams. This is the real thing. How do you know you're not going to wake up again and again? Where does it end? That is why the only thing you know for certain is you know you exist. You know you're experiencing something. And that's the key realization you need to hold on to wake up, apparently wake up from this dream that, spoiler alert, you can never wake up from. You're presented a reality that you naturally take to be real, that you take to be real, that you buy into the story of. What is this you I'm talking about? Let's do some self-inquiry just to really drill home this fact. Are you aware of a changing objective world? Are you aware of it? Can you deploy 6 instruments of knowledge to know this changing world? Yes, I can see it, hear it, taste it, feel it, smell it, think about this changing world. I know it through 6 instruments of knowledge. The body is exactly the same. I can see the body, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, think about it. 6 instruments of knowledge I can use to know this body. It's known to me, I. Your breath, your thoughts, your feelings, do you know these? Do they have objective qualities? You know them. You can feel your feelings, you can feel your breath, you can think your thoughts. These are known. These are changing. Your ego is a thought. This whole story of your life is a thought. You know it. Everything you know can be known with an instrument of knowledge. Everything you know is changing. What about yourself? Do you know yourself? The deepest sense of you, do you know it? Do you feel like it's real? Yes. But how do you know yourself? I'm not talking about this egoic self. Everything about this egoic self you think you are, as the regular person, is known. You know the world, you know the body, you know your thoughts, you know your feelings, you know your ego. It's known. It's not you. You are the knower of all this. So that true knower of all this, how do you know that? What instrument of knowledge can you use to know yourself? Remember, I'm not talking about the ego. I'm talking about your true self. Can you see your true self? Hear, taste, touch, smell, think about your true self? No. Your true self is that which lights up all these instruments of knowledge, that makes all these instruments of knowledge function to know all this. You can't know yourself. You can only be yourself. This is like a wave in the ocean saying, I want to know what water is. I want to experience water. You cannot experience the very substance you're made from. Your true self, to give it a label, is consciousness. The nature of consciousness is to experience. Your nature is to experience. And getting back to this dream of life, the nature of this dream is to experience. All your knowledge is just an experience. You have experienced, here's an example, this may apply to you or not. Your life has been the experience of thinking, I'm a person living a life. That experience led you to the thoughts and feelings. I kind of like what they're saying in spirituality about waking up, enlightenment. That's what you're currently experiencing. All this knowledge that you're learning through perhaps me or anyone else is not real knowledge. It's the experience of gaining knowledge. And even if you think, I've got it, I've woken up, I'm enlightened, what is that? An experience. You're trapped in experience. You're trapped in the dream. If you picture life like a dream, everything that happens in the dream is the dream. I'm an atheist, God is nonsense, all this mumbo jumbo spirituality, nonsense. Experience in the dream. I'm worshipping a God. Concept, experience in the dream. I'm trying to become enlightened. Experience in the dream. I'm enlightened finally. Experience in the dream. The dream character can never escape the dream. That's what I'm trying to point to. Your true self has never been trapped in this dream, is trapped in the dream, or will ever be trapped in the dream. You're totally safe. And that's how you, ironically, free yourself from the dream you've never been trapped in. Realize this fact. And here's the twist. Even the realization of this fact is part of the dream. That's why if you're at a certain state of mind to understand what I'm saying, you'll get it. If you're not, this is going to sound like total nonsense. So if you're kind of getting a glimpse of what I'm saying, something in you saying, I can't fully understand what Simon is saying, but on the deeper sense, it makes sense to me what he's saying. How do you deepen this realization? The first thing you need to do is what we did in self-inquiry. Focus and keep your attention on what you truly are. Your true self is the knower of all experience. It is illumining all experience. Like I mentioned in the beginning, that's the only thing you know for certain. You know you exist. That is real. That is unchanging. The definition of real in Hinduism is that which is self-evident and unchanging. Your true self is self-evident and unchanging. What is the definition of unreal in Hinduism? That which is changing and not self-evident. That's what this world is. This world is constantly changing. This world isn't self-evident. You had to be taught everything about this world. You didn't intuitively know it. You had to be taught. This is a world. That is a person, a car. You're taught all the knowledge of this world. It's not self-evident and it's constantly changing. But the feeling of knowing you exist, you don't have to be taught you exist. You can't remember it or forget it. It's self-evident and unchanging. So the first step is to keep your mind anchored in that fact. That is the only real thing. Knowing you exist. And here's the unsettling and scary part. You need to detach from this reality for a period of time. You need to have the firm conviction on what I just said. You know you exist. That's the only thing you know for certain. Everything else is uncertain. No matter how real you take this life, you need to doubt it. You need to detach from it. Everything you're experiencing, all the people you love, all the people you hate, they're just an appearance. You need to have a deep down detachment to this reality. Because any type of attachment, any type of desire for this reality is the desire for illusion. When you're anchored in that realization, anchored in your true self, realizing everything you're experiencing is an illusion, is unreal, you're not being caught up in the dream. In fact, you're never actually caught in the dream. You're never trapped in the dream. You can only think you're trapped. That's another thing I'm trying to point to. You've never been, are, or will be trapped in this dream. You can only think you're trapped. And this anchoring yourself in your true self, detach you from this world, no matter how real, no matter how scary, no matter how pleasurable it appears to be, saying to yourself, this is all an illusion. This is ultimately unreal. This stage of your spiritual path can be unsettling. And here's what I want to say. There's light at the end of this. You first need to detach from all this. Ultimately, you need to reintegrate it back to yourself. That's why this teaching is non-dual. Because if you detach from this reality and stay in that detached state, you might develop feelings of solipsism. Like, I'm real. How do I know they're not zombies? How do I know they're conscious? It can lead you down some dark places. If you detach from this reality and take that as a concept. Again, if you're ready to receive what I'm saying, you'll get an intuition of what I'm saying. If you're not, this is going to sound like nonsense. But ultimately, you need to detach for a certain period of time to really ground yourself in your true self. This is not you, ultimately. No matter how alluring, no matter how scary, no matter how persuasive this reality is, not you. Nothing to do with you. It's all a magic show. It's all an illusion. It's all a dream. However you want to reconcile this in your mind. Stop buying into illusion. Once you're stabilized in that detached witness state, there's the final thing you need to do. Reabsorb this reality back into yourself. That's why I mentioned at the start, this life is not a dream. It's like a dream. It's a dream that you can never wake up from. If this was really a dream, everything I said was true. You can look at characters and say they're not real. They're a figment of my imagination. But life isn't a dream, it's like one. Why is it like a dream? Because the very fabric of this dream and you is one and the same fabric. The very experiences you're trying to detach from are made from the very substance you are. But to get to that point, you had to go backwards. You thought you were a person and you thought this dream was real. You need to detach from that thought. You need to detach from those thoughts and feelings. Realize the witness state. Realize anything I'm experiencing, no matter how real, scary it seems, it's all ultimately unreal. It's all ultimately not true. You need to go to that phase. Then reabsorb all this back. Because the very dream you're trying to escape, the very dream you're trying to avoid, detach from, is made of you. Your nature is pure consciousness. The nature of consciousness is to experience. The nature of consciousness is to dream. That's why you can never escape from the dream. You're always trapped in the dream and you don't need to escape from it. You're the very fabric it's made from. All knowledge is an experience in the dream. Even everything I'm saying right now. All this knowledge and things I'm saying about you're the source of the dream, you are the dream, everything the dream's made from is made from you. Concept in the dream. See how you can't escape it. Think of me like a dream character in your dream sent to tell you all this information. I'm here to wake you up from the dream that can't be woken up from. And guys, honestly, like I said, if you're at a certain level of understanding, everything I say, if you're at a certain level of understanding on this path, everything I'm saying to you is going to sound crazy. What's he talking about? This guy is on the borderline of mental illness. I don't know what you might be thinking. But at a certain point in your spiritual path, everything I'm saying to you, you'll intuit this. You'll know it to be true. And these are the types of videos that I make where I think, after I talk about this, I don't want to talk about spirituality anymore. I feel like I've spoken about the highest realization when I talk like this. But again, even that's a concept. I have spoken about the highest truth. Why talk about this anymore? Concept in the dream. That's why I also bring it down to the relative level. I talk about devotion, prayer, spiritual practice. Because like Sri Ramakrishna said, when you ascend to the top of a house, obviously in India, you look back down at the house and realize the bricks you used to climb to the top of the roof were made of concrete. The walls of the house were made of concrete. The roof is made of concrete. You thought you've reached the top. You thought you've reached the top, but when you look back down, it was all concrete. From the bottom to the top, all concrete. And that's what I'm saying. Speaking about devotion, spiritual practice, part of the dream. Thinking I've woken up, I don't need all this spiritual practice, part of the dream. Thinking you've ascended to the top, part of the dream. You're always trapped in the dream. You're always trapped in consciousness because you are consciousness. The nature of consciousness is to experience, and all this knowledge you think you have is part of the experience. And where does this leave you? What are you meant to do? What are you meant to think? What are you meant to say? There's nothing you can do, think, or say. All thinking, doing, and happening is just happening. The closest realization you can come to is realize you know nothing. There's nothing you can know. All knowing happens in what you are. Any concept you buy into and think it's really, really real, worldly or spiritual, it's ignorance. You've learned, this reality is learned ignorance. This reality is a dream made of language, appearing out of you and made from you. You know nothing. Even that's a concept. You know nothing, concept. Thinking you know something, concept. Once all this clicks and you intuit it, your mind's going to go blank. Your mind's going to be in the state of silence, inner peace, wonder, because you're using all these concepts to intuit your beyond concepts, yet the fabric all concepts are made from. This is why this reality is so amazing. You are so amazing. And to end this video, all this talk about enlightenment. When people ask me, do you feel enlightened? Do you feel what you're saying is a belief or something you're experiencing? First thing I like to say, who is the one that's enlightened? When people ask me, are you enlightened? Who? Who are you talking about? Deep down, there's no person to become enlightened. So first of all, that question doesn't make sense. That's why I say no. No, I'm not enlightened. Second of all, why I claim I'm not enlightened, there's another two reasons. It's better to feel you're enlightened and say, I'm not enlightened, than to say you're enlightened and not be enlightened. Because this whole journey is for you. There's only you here anyway, by the way. This is a solo journey. Back to yourself, back to the place you never left. So what are you trying to prove to others? Why do you need to tell them you're enlightened? That's another reason. I say I'm not enlightened. If ever I do feel enlightened, I'm still not going to claim it. Second reason I say that is, the people that ask you, are you enlightened? I only want to listen to an enlightened speaker. They're kind of answering their own question. They want someone that comes out and says they're enlightened. They're only going to listen to that type of person. So my feeling is, go find that type of person. And why do I encourage people to do that? Because when I got onto this path, I did not care what people claimed or didn't claim. I didn't care what they were wearing, what they claimed about themselves, whatever experience, enlightening experience they had. I did not care. You know what I cared about? Their message. If what they said brought me more inner peace, brought me a deeper understanding of this realization, that's all I cared about. I just cared about what they said, not what they appeared to be. Like they say in the Bible, what Jesus says, by their fruits you will know them. Someone can claim to be this and that, but if you get the intuition they're not genuine, or they're making it all about themselves, that they're better than you, that they're stringing you along, making you dependent on them, don't worry what they're claiming. But again, I've told people, go find an enlightened teacher because that's what they feel they need. And they feel they need it because that's what they need. But again, if that's what you feel you need, be very mindful of what they're saying. Are they trying to make you dependent on them? Are they trying to string you along? Are they giving you genuine advice or giving you these mysterious words to keep you addicted to what they're saying? That's all I'm saying. So that's my final answer to the question, am I enlightened or not? People have asked me, are you enlightened? Is everything you're saying a direct experience, or are you just repeating what you've heard? Everything I'm saying in this video, I genuinely am experiencing, and I'm trying to relay that information to you guys to kind of give you a shift. But again, anyone that asks me, are you enlightened? Are you this, that? I'm going to say no. Get out of here. Go find someone that is. Because I have just always focused on the message. I don't care about the person. Is this person invoking in me a deeper understanding? That's all I've cared about. And again, I'd like to ultimately say, all this is happening in the dream, is an experience in the dream. Are you enlightened? I need to hear an enlightened speaker. Concept in the dream, experience in the dream. I've woken up, I'm enlightened. Concept in the dream. I kind of feel I've got the truth, but I'm not stabilized in it. What I talk about a lot. That's another thing you may have heard me say. I have realized my true self, but I don't feel stabilized in it. So I'm claiming I'm not enlightened. What is that? An experience in the dream. This reality is like a dream. It's not a dream. You cannot wake up from it. This reality is like a dream made from the very fabric that you are. And that's why I might have forgotten to say this, which is what I was meant to say. After you've done all this detachment, you need to integrate this reality back into yourself. The very fabric, this reality you're trying to avoid, is made from what you are. That's why the only option is love, peace. And guys, so where does that leave me going forward with these videos? I've just spoke of the apparent highest truth, which I love talking about. But why do I, again, bring it back down to the very everyday level, talking about God, spirituality, inner peace? Because again, there is no higher and lower in this. I'm just trying to show you you're trapped in the dream that's ultimately made of what you are. Every attempt to escape the dream is part of the dream. You're always safe. If that clicks, I'm so happy. And where does that leave us? Back to talking about regular stuff. Back to talking about the weather, the football, about spirituality, about God. All this is going to click for you or not. I'm trying to point to something deep within you, in your intuition. And this video probably sounded like a word salad, but you know what? I don't care. I didn't even bother to get out of my pajamas. I just rolled out of bed and thought, I need to talk about this. And that's it. However it comes out, it's coming out.